Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast about learning English in fun and interesting ways. My name is Emma.
And I'm Max. We're so excited to talk with you today. Our topic is how to learn English from TV shows. It's one of my favorite ways to improve language skills.
Mine too, Max. Watching TV shows is like taking a trip to another country without leaving your home. You can hear real conversations, see how people talk, and learn new words all at the same time.
That's right, Emma. Plus, TV shows are so entertaining. You get to practice English while enjoying a good story, but where do we start?
That's a great question. Let's start with choosing the right TV show. Not all shows are good for learning English. For beginners or intermediate learners, it's better to pick shows that use simple language. For example, sitcoms like Friends or The Big Bang Theory are fantastic. They use everyday.
I agree, Emma. Another tip is to pick a show you enjoy. If you love crime stories, you can watch Sherlock. If you like comedy, try something funny like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When you enjoy the show, you'll want to keep watching and learning.
Exactly, Max. Now, let's talk about subtitles. Subtitles can be really helpful. At first, you can use subtitles in your own language. This helps you understand what's happening, but later, switch to English subtitles.
Yes, English subtitles are great because they show you how words are spelled while you listen. It's like practicing reading and listening at the same time.
And don't worry if you don't understand everything. It's normal. Just focus on the main idea. You'll learn more each time you watch.
Another tip is to pause and repeat. If you hear a new word or sentence, pause the show and repeat it. Say it out loud. This helps you practice pronunciation and remember the word better.
Good point, Max. Sometimes I even write down new words or phrases. I keep a little notebook and I add words I hear in shows. Later, I look them up and try to use them in my own sentences.
That's a great habit, Emma. Another thing I do is try to copy the way actors speak. Their tone, rhythm, and accent are all part of how English sounds.
Oh, yes, mimicking the actor is a fun way to improve your speaking skills. And don't forget, you can rewatch episodes. Every time you watch, you'll understand a bit more and catch new details.
Absolutely. Watching the same episode a few times can really help. You start to notice how people use phrases in different situations.
Right, and sometimes I even pick a favorite scene and practice it. For example, I pretend I'm one of the characters and say their lines. It feels like a fun game.
That sounds fun, Emma, and speaking of characters, pay attention to how they show emotions when they speak. You can learn how to express feelings in English like happiness, surprise, or even frustration.
That's so true, Max. TV shows are full of emotions, and it's a great way to learn how people really talk in different situations.
Yes, and don't forget about body language too. Watching how people move and express themselves while speaking is just as important as listening to their words.
Good point. So, to recap this part, choose a fun and simple show, use subtitles wisely, and try to repeat what you hear.
And don't forget to enjoy the process. Learning English with TV shows should be fun, not stressful.
Exactly. There's so much more to say about this topic. Let's keep going and explore more ways to learn from TV shows.
So, let's dive deeper into how to use TV shows to improve your English. We talked about choosing the right shows and using subtitles. Now, let's explore more tips to make your learning even better.
Yes, Max, one great way to learn is by focusing on specific episodes or scenes. Some scenes are packed with useful phrases. For example, in sitcoms, you'll hear casual greetings, jokes, and small talk that you can use in real life.
Exactly. Let's take an example. In a show like Friends, the characters often meet at a coffee shop. They say things like, "How's it going?" or "What's up?" These are perfect phrases for everyday conversations.
Oh, that's a good example. And if you hear something funny or interesting, pause the video and think, how would I use this phrase in my own life? For example, if a character says, "I'll call you later," imagine saying it to a friend or family member.
That's a smart tip, Emma. Another thing you can do is focus on accents. Different shows have different accents. For example, in The Crown, you'll hear British English. In Friends, it's American English.
Yes, listening to different accents helps you understand English speakers from around the world. And don't worry if it feels hard at first. It's okay to take your time.
Definitely, and here's another idea. Try shadowing. Have you heard of it, Emma?
Oh, yes, shadowing is when you listen to what someone says and repeat it immediately, almost like an echo.
Exactly. You don't have to say it perfectly. The goal is to practice speaking naturally. You can do this with short sentences from a show. For example, if a character says, "Let's get started," you can repeat it after them.
Shadowing is a fantastic way to improve pronunciation. And it's fun. Sometimes I feel like I'm acting in the show.
That's the spirit, Emma. Another tip is to watch with a friend or a study partner. When you watch together, you can pause the show and discuss it. Ask each other questions like, "What do you think this word means?"
I love that idea, Max. Talking about the show helps you remember new words and phrases better. Plus, it's more fun to learn with someone else.
It really is, and here's something I do sometimes: focus on culture. TV shows are full of cultural details. For example, in The Big Bang Theory, you'll notice how friends joke with each other. Or in Modern Family, you'll see how people celebrate holidays like Thanksgiving.
That's such a great point. Understanding culture helps you understand language better. It shows you when to use certain words or phrases. For example, how people greet each other can change based on the situation or relationship.
Absolutely. And you can even practice by copying what you see. If a character says, "Have a great weekend," you can say that to someone at work or school.
Yes, and let's not forget about expressions and idioms. TV shows are full of them. For example, in How I Met Your Mother, you'll hear phrases like, "It's going to be leg and wait for it, Derry."
Oh, I love that one. Shows like that teach you phrases you won't find in textbooks. Just be careful, some idioms are very specific to certain cultures.
Good advice, Max, and don't forget to take it slow. You don't have to understand every word or phrase at first. It's okay to focus on small parts of the show.
Yes, one great method is to choose a theme. For example, you can focus on greetings one day and on ordering food the next. Shows like Friends have plenty of scenes where characters order coffee or food.
That's such a useful idea. And while you're watching, don't just listen. Try to notice how characters move, their facial expressions, and their gestures.
Exactly. Communication isn't just about words, it's also about body language. When you understand both, you'll sound more natural in English.
That's so true. And speaking of sounding natural, pay attention to the rhythm of sentences. English has a kind of music to it. Listen to how characters stress certain words.
Great point, Emma. For example, listen to how they say questions like, "Are you coming?" The pitch goes up at the end, but when they say, "I'm coming," the pitch stays flat.
Yes, and once you notice these patterns, try to copy them. You'll sound more fluent and confident.
Exactly. And one more thing, don't be afraid to have fun. Learning with TV shows should feel like an adventure. Laugh at the jokes, enjoy the drama, and let yourself relax.
Yes, when you're having fun, you learn faster. Watching TV shows is like practicing English with your favorite characters as your teachers.
So let's keep going and explore even more ways to use TV shows for learning English. Emma, let's start with one of my favorite tips, talking back to the TV.
Oh, yes, that's such a fun idea, Max. When you talk back to the TV, it feels like you're part of the conversation. For example, if a character asks, "What do you think about this?" you can answer, "I think it's great."
Exactly. It's like practicing a conversation, but with no pressure. You can do this with questions or even copy their tone and style of speaking.
And you can also use this to practice forming sentences. If a character says, "I love pizza," you can try saying something similar, like, "I love pasta," or "I love chocolate."
That's a great way to practice creating your own sentences. Another thing you can do is to predict what will happen next. For example, if you're watching a mystery show, pause and guess what the character will do or say.
Oh, I do that all the time, Max. It's a great way to think in English. You can even write down your predictions and then compare them to what actually happens.
That's a fantastic idea, Emma, and speaking of writing, another tip is to write your own subtitles.
Oh, yes, that's such a creative exercise. You can turn off the subtitles on your TV show and try writing what the characters are saying.
Exactly. You don't have to write everything perfectly. Just focus on the main idea of what they're saying. It's a great way to improve your listening and writing skills at the same time.
Another fun activity is to summarize episodes. After you finish watching, try explaining the episode to yourself or a friend in English.
That's a great tip, Emma. It helps you practice speaking, and it also checks how much you understood from the show. You can start with simple sentences like, "In this episode, the characters went to a party."
Right, and as you get better, you can add more details. For example, the characters went to a party, and one of them lost their wallet. It was really funny.
Exactly, and if you have time, you can even write a short review of the show. Talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, and why.
Oh, that's a great idea, Max. Writing reviews is a fun way to practice your opinions in English. And you can even share them online, like on social media or in a language learning group.
That's true. Another tip is to try dubbing. Have you ever done that, Emma?
Oh, yes. Dubbing is when you mute the show and try to speak the characters' lines yourself. It's like you're the actor.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to practice pronunciation and timing. You can also be creative and make the lines funny or dramatic if you want.
It's such a fun activity. And while we're talking about speaking, here's another tip. Focus on key phrases. TV shows often repeat common phrases like, "Let me help you," or "What are you doing?" That's a great point, and don't forget to celebrate your progress. Sometimes we feel like we're not improving. But if you watch an episode today and then watch it again in a month, you'll see how much better you've gotten.
That's so true, Emma. Learning English is a journey, and TV shows are a fantastic companion on that journey. They make learning fun and interesting.
Absolutely. And remember, the key is to enjoy the process. Don't stress about understanding everything. Even if you learn one new word from an episode, that's progress.
Exactly. So, to wrap things up, use TV shows to improve your listening, speaking, writing, and even your understanding of culture. Try different activities like shadowing, summarizing, dubbing, and predicting.
And don't forget to have fun with it. Learning English from TV shows is not just about studying, it's about enjoying stories, laughing, and discovering new things.
That's right. And on that note, we want to thank you all for listening to our podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel and share it with your family and friends.
And keep practicing your English every day. Remember, every little bit helps.
We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Keep learning and having fun.